question my decisions for reading this book. I read it just because I wanted to know how to not write a book and why I was so hyped. And it's still not out of my memory. Tell me, how should I remove? He ends up falling in love with her. Why? We don't know. Curiosity to know more about this person. Boring, but ordinary girl with no hobbies meets up a boy, and the guy is a vampire, which he doesn't reveal. But he ends up falling in love with her. Why? We don't know. Because there is no reason. He never says a reason. Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. It was hard to read these four books. This book, I would say, does nothing to tell us that Bella is an interesting character. Like, I am not even interested in her. Edward, being a vampire, has no reason to fall in love with Bella, but we just see their romance take place throughout the series, them falling in love, and Bella just knowing the whole of the vampire world that there is. I would say the mythological research that she conducts is interesting. It actually shows her curiosity to know more about this person in general, but the description of Edward is, I have no words for it, because diamond perfect face, honey glazed eyes, I barely manage and go through those words. And it's still not out of my memory. Tell me, how should I remove it? It's just so bothersome. And overall, the story just develops a world and it doesn't really have a plot. Yes, it doesn't. This book had James, Victoria, and Laurent come up at the very end to attack Bella. And I would say in movie, the strategy where the three just trail and come in the open field, the leader does not stand in the front position in the movie. Just post the photo here for reference, and that is such a good strategy. Like, I have never seen that play out before, so I really like it when the leader is not actually standing in the front, so the illusion is created that the person standing in the front is the leader when he was not. And I really like that. But the unnecessary hype created for James, I think it was James, wanting to go after Bella and all of the protection that they were creating, it was good. It kept me at the edge and just wanting to read what happened, because at the very end there is a fight where Bella is almost about to become a vampire, but Edward comes and saves her. But let's just say that the fight with James Victoria Laurent does not end here. And it's a very slow book, very slow book. I mean, I just could not get through it quickly. I do not like Bella. I just do not. But my opinion doesn't change after this book. Even the second and third book, I'm with the same opinion. And I would say that most of it because Bella doesn't do much. And when she does, I hate her even more, because when she gets the opportunity to be a likable character for me, she decides to leave her friends and go after this guy who she now is in love with. And she does this over and over again. Like, every single time there is a gathering with her friends and Edward, she will always choose Edward. Like, what is her problem? Why is she doing this? She can give time to her friends and she doesn't. Ever. Like, every time her priority is to be with Edward. That's it. And it is not that good because they never fight. Ever. Not even once. They do not have any differences of opinion. Their relationship, once established, is static for all of the books. And I do not like that. I would still say this book needed a lot more of fights between Edward and Bella. Just a bit of miscommunication or something, because Bella is so obsessed with this guy that she's just leaving her friends, and she's okay with leaving her friends and family and everyone. And they just fight in the second book, about which I'll be uploading my second video. So subscribe and let me know if Midnight Sun, is it called? It's Edward version of Twilight. Let me know if it's worth it. He is not supposed to act stupid like this. They just exist. They don't live. It just goes on and on and on and on and on for the entire book. That is her concern. That is the reason she wants to become a vampire. New Moon by Stephanie Meyer, book 2 in the Twilight series. I hate the beginning. And I'm not even starting at the negative points here. It just goes deep and deep into how much I hate it. The first thing, the first chapter, I would say, is told to us that she is dreaming. I mean, rather than shown, she's dreaming that she is now a grandma and beside her, Edward is young as ever, 17, sweet 17. And this one thing of aging, this one thing is the reason that she wants to become a vampire. That's it. And to live with Edward forever is another. Why would Bella do this? I mean, age and to become a grandma. That is her concern. That is the reason she wants to become a vampire. I mean, no. Just look at Vampire Diaries. Why people are becoming vampires? Just look at it. It's so much more mature, so much more nice. But then, as the first video, as I said, that this couple, Bella and Edward, never had a fight. Well, they have a fight in this book. And their fight is not a fight, it's a breakup. And when that happens, I feel, okay, this relationship has progressed. Bella is not able to cope with it. And just not able to cope is a very simplified version of saying of whatever she does to all the lengths that she goes in this book. The end where they break up. And I would say Bella, being a teenager, acts like a teenager for the entire book. And she goes very close to her best friend called Jacob, about whom we get to learn so much more in this book. And their relationship dynamic is so much better than Bella and Edward's. I would still say that this book would really, because of this whole triangle, many people support for Jacob and Bella, but I would say that is the second best answer for me. For first, I would just not pair Bella with any because I do not like her. Okay. Talking about this story, Bella does not have a very good way of handling a breakup, and that does not end there. She hallucinates Edward all the time, and the more closer she goes to Jacob is just to take her out of the memories of Edward, to just make her feel better. But deep down, in the book version, Bella always loves Edward, and I don't know why she's friend zoning Jacob, and there's so much more chemistry. There's so much more. I do not like the dominating nature of Jacob when he forcefully tries to kiss Bella, but apart from that, I would say Jacob is a very good candidate. Like to really stand through the triangle and be a winner because Edward does not do much to show or keep the love between him and Bella alive. They just exist. They don't live, survive, they don't thrive in their relationship. They're just static. And I don't like that. Someone from the past book appears again. So the villain, James, Laurent, Victoria, those three, Laurent appears in this book. Okay, so Laurent appears and he's just being a very good friend to them, I guess. But the concept of vampire coexisting with werewolves. Boy, does Bella jump off a cliff and Edward thinks she's dead. And Edward goes to suicide, to the Volturi or Volterra, whatever you like to call it, and in Italy. And this is just such a stupid decision from Edward. And I'm not saying that I'm emotionless. I'm just saying that Edward is a 100-plus-year-old vampire, okay? He is not supposed to act stupid like this. Like, okay, just one person whom I don't even know why I was in love with is just dead now, and I have no way to confirm because I called and just Jacob answered. I could just physically go there, but no, I'm not in the mood for it, and I will just go to kill myself. And yeah, I don't have any other life. I have no one else to be with. And he just gives up on life, which is not what you want in real life. So this book does nothing to teach you of how to tackle with a breakup because Bella is crumbling on the forest floor, just unaware of what she's doing. I mean, I understand panic attacks. I understand every bodily emotion that she is not able to handle, but it just goes on and on and on and on and on for the entire book. The same happens to Edward, and they break up just because it is not safe for Bella, which she actually was there for one whole book, right? And now you just all of a sudden come and say it's not safe for Bella to be around vampires, so just remove her out of the picture. And even then, she's not safe because a vampire does show up after that, and there's only Jacob's gang to save. She's just crying for help all the time. Why is this girl not showing any signs of being a good female character, of portraying hobbies? Leave that aside. Book reading is her hobby, she says in book 4, which I'll come to in the next videos, but she says book reading is her hobby. And I do not see her reading books after the first book or second book because man, it's an era and she's over it very quickly. I would say this book, comparatively, because we had so much of Jacob, was okay. But apart from that, the decisions that the people take, especially Bella and then Edward, and it's just beyond me. And even in this book and the first book, I just forgot to mention, in the first book, I would say it is never, ever disclosed to us why Bella has the superior ability to block out Edward's ability to read thoughts. Like, Edward is not able to read Bella's thoughts. Why? Never explained. Never. It's just a big plot hole. And I would say you should give good reason, because in book 4 we get explanation for everything that Bella is able to block right now. A little movie and book comparison between New Moon, I would say Taylor Lautner had to do a lot of physical changes to become the werewolf that he had to be shown in the book or in the movie per se. And that transformation is so good for him because we get to see him as a completely different person compared to the one we saw in book 1. And Robert Pattinson also had to appear shirtless in this book. In the movie, was the reason why this book was so hyped up, because like, oh, you're getting to see a person's physical appearance of how they have been maintaining themselves, and he's a vampire, so he needs to be very fair, and they wanted his skin to shine in the sun, so they applied all the makeup of diamond and everything in it on his body. And the chase scene was interesting because you didn't know what will happen, but the thing that this book ended happily after, just yeah, it's all gonna be a piece of cake. At the end, they're gonna be together. It's not how I like a story. I mean, if you have a 4 book series, at least just show one a bittersweet or one that does not end on a happy ending. Like, there needs to be some. Obviously, there needs to be some resolution. But the fact that there's always a happy ending, they always end up together, is just beyond me, because they just had a fight for no reason, and they get back together just the same way for no reason. They're inseparable. We don't know why. Their love developed over time in the first book, and it was never challenged. Like, they are static. This book overall did an okayish job. The first book, at least, we had a bit of introduction to the characters, to the world. But this, compared to the vampire attack and the werewolf saving Bella, and Bella just being Bella and not saving herself, or just not doing anything per se, because Edward is no longer with her, and Edward decides to suicide, which is just a crappy decision. So I don't know what to say. Is there anything good about this book? Do you have any of your favorites? Comment down below.